Hey team, welcome to the weekly live Premier Q&A. It's Cam Devady here, the founder of Premier Property, and as you're probably aware, every week I'm answering questions that you're bringing along, and I'm going to do this right now. The first question I want to get into is by Bob. Bob is asking, afternoon, has anyone applied for consent to let? Have you applied for consent to let with Halifax recently? What do they ask for? What are the checks? What do you do? So consent to let, just for clarity. So if you've got a property, now of course I'm not giving you any financial advice, I'm just sharing with you things that we are doing and have done in the past, what we're doing. So if you've got a property that is a residential property and the mortgage is a residential mortgage, well then, that you can't really rent that out, you're in breach of the contracts. So you've got to ask for something known as consent to let, consent to be renting that property. Now, typically, in my experience, lenders, it really depends on the lender that you're going to and how their sort of take on their view on that is right now. So it changes all the time. Different lenders will change doing the things the way they're doing them. So you simply have to ask. And the way that works is you simply write a letter to them asking them that you would like their consent to let, explain the situation, and they will take a view on it. If they accept, they will change the mortgage and it will become a buy-to-let mortgage. So just be aware that the interest rates may change. And if you've got a repayment mortgage, then that may still remain a repayment mortgage, but it will be transferred over to a buy-to-let type mortgage, which means you are now able to rent that property knowing that the lender is happy with that, so you have that security and that peace of mind. Chances of success, I would say 20 to 30% yes. Of getting it, they may decide to give it to you, they may decide they don't, but there's always different options. If they don't give it to you, then you can always go to another lender to remortgage that property. So there's always a workaround from it. So great question there by Bob. So Bob, I hope that helps. So write to them, initiate the process, and we can take it from there. Brilliant. Next up, we got Mr. Phillips' question. Hi Cam, we've been talking to a vendor about a property wanting to view. They told us that the property had solar panel on the roof, and wondering if that can be signed over to us if we purchase the property, because it's a lease situation. So in my experience, when it comes to these lease type of scenarios, these lease companies are quite happy to start a new lease with the new owner. However, typically what they will do is they will start a new term and they will discuss new rates with you. Now, these solar panels type of properties aren't, everywhere. So, we haven't got lots of these in our portfolio. To be fair, we haven't got any, to be fair, in our portfolio. But I know people that have come across this situation where they've got that. But what happens is the lease, typically you have to renew the lease with them. Very rare that they will just carry it on. They typically give you the terms, but you typically got to start a new term. So something to be aware of there. But that's how you can overcome that and get around it. So another great question. Now we've got another question here asking all about that they've got a personal property portfolio in their personal names, and they're wondering how do we take out income and so on. How do we actually make sure that we create that into a pension pot? How do we do it? So what we do is we use a Premier Property bar system. The Premier Property bar system works like you buy. So you buy at some discount, you add a value which uplifts the price of that property, and then you release the seed capital by many different ways, one of them being refurbishment, because you now added value and with that refurbishment, and now you're able to refinance that capital back. And the aim of the game always is to get all of your capital expenditure back to you within a time frame. That could be the next day, could be, typically isn't, but there is a chance of that happening. I mean, we have a half a dozen like that happen every year. Really, really good. Most of them, we get the money back to you in 6 months. That comes back to you in 6 months. And some of them you can build a time frame. So that might be 12 months or 24 months or even 36 months, where all of the money that's left in that property comes back to you. So in effect, all the money that you put in has now come back to you. Now, when you do this, yes, you still got a loan on the property. However, any income that surpasses all your costs is your income, isn't it? So you can choose to do whatever you like with that extra surplus income. So some of the things that we do. So you could put them into an ISA. This is what we do, no financial advice. You could put them into an ISA, you could put them into a savings account, you could capitalize those funds, and you could use it as seed capital to go into another property. So you're asset building and you're increasing the momentum. So you could be doing this. So your income is your income. You could actually choose to spend it if you really wanted to. You could run your lifestyle through that income if you wish. Because that income is yours, like what I say, to do what you would like to do with. So it really is a bespoke plan. So start thinking how you want to invest that income, that money, because that's your money. And always be thinking about the Premier Property Bar system. Great question there. Next up, we have another question here by Imran. Imran is asking, so Imran's a member of our Premier Property community. Imran is asking, what is your advice for someone who is just about to start SA, so serviced accommodation, so renting out places on a short-term basis, just to be crystal clear. So, Imran, you're starting a service accommodation business. One of the biggest mistakes investors make is they think a town centre or a train station is going to be the prominent place for their service accommodation. Trust me, that is not always the case. You need, one of the things to start in service accommodation correctly is that you need your specific, like what we call your goldmine area for service accommodation. And once you've got that, well, then what you find is that you're going to have paying guests, you're going to have less voids, more occupancy, and your business will work. So number one is finding your specific goldmine area. Number two is being in an area where you have a cluster of hotels. But if you think about it, any hotel that's been put up, large hotel like Hilton's, for example, and so on, what you find is they have done their market research, haven't they? They've done, they spent tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands on their market research, and then they've put a hotel there. So if you've got a place where there's a hotel and there's another hotel next to it and another hotel there, well, you know what? Don't be afraid of the competition. What that actually means is you are in the right place. So that's a really important one. Hope you've enjoyed this quick, sharp Q&A. I'm doing this every single week. Join me next week. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you haven't already, then feel free to subscribe to our channel. And I will see you same place, same time next week. It's Cam Devady helping you take your property investing to the next level. See you next week. Bye for now.